And welcome back to the Daily Dribble podcast, guys. As always, I'm your host, Nick Zammit, here back with the first episode for 2025. Had a bit of an extended break over the last fortnight or so as the festive period's come and gone, but was really excited to get back in the studio this week and just share everything ball. It is shaping up as a huge year on and off the court. It's already started at a breakneck pace, namely with a lot of the off-court talk surrounding Jimmy Butler at the moment. That is a constantly evolving situation that's kind of progressing day by day. But his fallout with the Heat there has really occupied the news waves as of late. Whilst on the court, both the East and Western conferences have so many exciting storylines playing out at the moment. So despite the layoff, I was really excited to get back into things today. Nevertheless, hope you all had a fantastic break, enjoyed it with friends, family, getting away possibly over that New Year's period, and just enjoyed a bit of R&R. I know I certainly did. But as I said, was looking forward to getting back today. Today's going to be a two-part series. We're rapidly approaching the halfway mark of the regular season. So I thought it was an opportune time to revisit my start of season predictions and just kind of touch on some of the things that I got right and some of the things I got wrong. Today, I'm going to start with the Eastern Conference. Next week, the West. It's normally how I do things there. But as I said, just touching on some of the things I got right and some I got wrong. As is part and parcel of doing something like this, being a bit of a armchair pundit, let's say. Not everything goes according to plan. And there is quite a few things here I got wrong. But I would love to hear your thoughts on these. Nevertheless, what I got right, what I got wrong, how you guys went based on your start of season predictions as well. Hit me up on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok at The Daily Dribble. I would love to hear your thoughts on it all. Okay, let's not stand on ceremony any longer. I'm going to kick off firstly with a point that I got right based on my start of season predictions thus far, and that was having faith in the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, after what could absolutely be described as a pretty disappointing season last year, many people had written the Bucks off. I wasn't one of these people. I just tend to think that if you've got Damian Lillard, if you've got Giannis Antetokounmpo, two of the best players on the planet, you've got a chance. Now, they started this season pretty slowly, but they've built into a pretty respectable position at the moment. At the time of recording, they sit currently in 5th position in the Eastern Conference there with an 18-16 record. Also, newly crowned NBA Cup champions after defeating OKC a couple of weeks ago. So it's not all doom and gloom. Despite the fact that they've got one of the older cores in the league, they're, I think, pretty well poised to be a dangerous team in the playoffs. Given the age of that core, though, I probably think that this is one of, if not their best, like potentially last opportunity to reach the top of the mountain once again. Middleton's getting older. Lopez is getting older. Dame's getting on the back end too. Giannis is in his 30s now as well. All those key cogs are really starting to get up in age. And with the way the NBA is evolving, so many of these young up-and-coming teams playing at a breakneck pace. You look at OKC, you look at Memphis, teams that are really deep with young talent. They're going to run roughshod over the league for the next 5 to 10 years. And their time is very rapidly approaching, if not already been here. So these teams that are getting older, like the Bucks in particular, their windows shutting rapidly. Despite that, they're currently only 2 games back of Orlando in 4th spot at the moment. And given their injury concerns, don't be surprised to see the Bucks potentially clinch home court advantage. Now, for a team that many had written off, this is a pretty decent return. And I personally think this is one I got right heading into the season, having that little bit of faith in the Milwaukee Bucks. Onto a point I got wrong. The 76ers are certainly off the pace at the moment. Now, at this point, going into the season, I was extremely high on them. Their, let's say, poor start to the season is not all their fault, not entirely. Not many more teams, you could say probably the Pelicans, but injuries have absolutely ravaged the 76ers up until this point. Given that they currently sit 11th in the Eastern Conference at 14-20, That being said, they are only 6 games back of fourth. They're starting to build. They've won 6 of their last 10 games, and their squad health is rapidly improving. Now, apart from rookie Jared McCain, he's down for the remainder of the season. Had a really promising start to the campaign, so it's a shame to see that one cut short. But outside of him, their roster is looking reasonably healthy. There's been big stints that Embiid's missed, that Paul George has missed to start the season. They haven't quite found their groove as of yet. But now with these key pieces kind of getting a bit of match fitness under their belt, they are building. As I said, 14 and 20. It's still not a great look, considerably under 500, but it looks a lot better than what they were a couple of weeks ago. So if you're looking at momentum, it's certainly on their side at the moment. That being said, I did predict them quite high this season. I really liked the moves they made in the off-season. Getting Paul George was undoubtedly the big one in this, but also adding Caleb Martin, Eric Gordon, Reggie Jackson, Andre Drummond, Ubasele as well. It also gave me quite a lot of faith in them. Now, I certainly didn't envision they would be this low at the moment, but I believe with this squad fit and healthy, they're still a dangerous out, and I anticipate they'll make the postseason. So certainly keep an eye on them as they continue to build, but I certainly, for one, did not foresee that they would have started the season this way. Just quickly, guys, before we push on, I want to give a bit of a shout out to our partners supporting the show here. Go check them out. Link in the show notes and on our socials. They're supporting me, but go support them to help support yourselves as well. That was a very poorly constructed sentence, Nick, but nevertheless, go check out Kamikaze Energy, guys. As I said, the link in the bio is there. As their slogan goes, you don't need wings when you have Kamikaze Energy. They are leading the way in sports nutrition, providing key vitamins and minerals and electrolytes. Certainly been a huge fuel for me as I've got back into work this week. Certainly come accustomed to sleeping in a little bit later, staying up a little bit later over the holiday period. So as Monday rolled around a couple of days ago, needed that can of Kamikaze Energy to get me up and about. But likewise, Australian owned and operated apparel brand LSKD. Now, they provide high-quality functional streetwear with a street aesthetic. They strive to be 1% better every day. And as I said a couple of weeks ago, it's a great motto to live by. With all their athletic-based apparel at the moment, what's caught my eye is their Rep 5-inch lined performance shorts. I think these are a tremendous product. I've got myself on a pair just recently. As I said, I'm currently in a bit of a phase of running at the moment. So these have been a great addition to my running wardrobe. It's fantastic quality, and it's gonna make you that 1% better each day. So if you want to support the show and support yourself, go shop LSKD. The link is in the show notes and on any of our social platforms. Certainly go do yourself a favor there. Okay, moving ahead to another point that I got right was the fact that the Charlotte Hornets are struggling. Now, people were considerably higher on the Hornets than what I thought they would be. I wasn't one of these people. I had very little faith in them heading into the season, just based on the fact that their success is entirely dependent on LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller being healthy and firing. Now, up until this point, both have missed time, and even when they've played, they've not had enough contributors to go along with them. Across the season thus far, LaMelo's averaging 30 points, 5 rebounds, 7.5 assists, whilst Miller's averaging 21.5 points, 5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists. Fantastic individual stats. But as I said, outside of that, there's not a lot going on in Charlotte. And I don't know. I think that is their backcourt of the future. That's what you're building around. But you've got to have something in the front court and on the bench to help them. Just due to the fact that they don't, they're going to really struggle throughout the rest of the regular season. They currently sit 13th with a record of 8-27, having lost 9 of their past 10 games. Only 1.5 games separate them and the bottom-placed Wizards, and they really are, I reckon, for the remainder of the season, in a real dogfight with both the Wizards and the Raptors as to who will clinch that bottom seed. Now, as a little pat on the back, I give them credit for that win over the Suns the other day. They're having their struggles as well at the moment. I might touch on that next week. So fair play to the Hornets there. But outside of that, they're in disarray. This is one I did see coming. They're just not a good basketball team. Like, you've had Taj Gibson starting center for you for big parts. Josh Green, he's not going to move the needle much. Granted, he's a fellow Aussie, so I'm on his side there, but he's not a needle mover. There's just not a lot to like about this squad outside of Miller and outside of Bol. Again, as I said, I thought a lot of people were really disillusioned as to how good they thought the Hornets were going to be. Like, there was talk the Hornets were going to be a play-in team. That's absolute absurdity. But I pat myself on the back because this is one I got right. So this isn't the year of the Hornets. I doubt next year will be either. They've really got to retool and put some more competent pieces around Bol and Miller there. On to another point that I got wrong was that the Cavs would be setting the pace across the league. Now, this looks mighty silly at this point in time, but I predicted the Cavs for a 7th place finish this year in the Eastern Conference. In no world did I think they would have the best record in the league at 31-4. That is a phenomenal pace they're cracking along at here. Now, this all comes despite Donovan Mitchell averaging the least amount of points since his rookie campaign at 23.3 points per game. Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, Karis LeVert, and the rest of the squad players that they've got have all more than pulled their weight. I think they've just got a really nice, well-rounded squad. Obviously, Mitchell is that number one guy, but their squad all pulls their weight. Dean Wade, another name there. Now, I don't know if I have them being a real potent, dominant force in the postseason. I wouldn't have them, I'd love to know what their odds are at the moment. I'm not super high on how far they'll go in the postseason. But that being said, they're putting themselves in the best position to succeed at the moment. It's crazy. Not once in my wildest dreams would I have envisioned that they would have started the season 15-0. Pardon me. 15-0. That's crazy. They've got the league's second best offense at 122.5 points per game, only behind Memphis at the moment with 123.1 points per game. Yet, as I said, I still stand by what I said. I still think they're a piece away. Going into the season, I thought they were just missing something, and I still stand by that at the moment. What that piece is, I'm not sure. I can certainly tell you it's not Jimmy Butler, but they are putting themselves in a great position for success at the moment. They've got a 5.5 game lead on the Celtics in second place at the moment. So you would expect they're not going any lower than kind of second, third, possibly, which puts them in really good stead to make a bit of a run in the postseason. Now, despite what anyone might say, no one would have envisioned this. I certainly didn't predict this at all. I've absolutely got this one wrong. But all the credit in the world to the Cavs. It's super exciting to see them doing well. And as I said, leading the league at the moment. Got the league's best record. Tip of the cap to them. So fair play there to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Finally, I'm going to end with the point that I got right, and this is one I'm quite excited about. Now, this is the fact that Jalen Johnson is a star. Heading into the season, he was a player I was super high on. I dubbed him one of my must-have fantasy players. And he's been delivering in a big way for the Hawks. Across all major categories, he's seen a huge input, a huge increase in output, should I say. He's just putting up phenomenal numbers at the moment. 20 points, a tick over 10 rebounds, 5.5 assists, 1.5 steals, 1 block, and he's going at 51% from the field. At just 23 years of age, Jalen Johnson is a guy on the rise. As I said, one of my must-have players heading into the season. He does a little bit of everything and plays perfectly in behind Trae Young. Now, another team, I'm not quite sure how far they'll go in the playoffs, but they are going to be super fun to watch. With Ricochet there, the number 1 pick, Dyson Daniels, Trae Young, Jalen Johnson. That is the makings of a really, really fun squad. And I'm really quite high on how far they could go this year. Really, really excited to see Johnson continue to develop. I really like his game on both ends of the floor. And I think, as I said, heading into the season, he has probably got the potential to be one of the best two-way players in the league, I think. And he's doing a phenomenal job of showing it this season. So pat on the back to you there, Nick. You've done very well. He's a guy, if you're not already paying attention to, I certainly implore you to watch some of the Hawks games, and in particular, keep a bit of an eye on Johnson there. Guys, there you have it, a short, sharp, speedy one to bring back 2025, going through and recapping some of the things I got right and some of the things I got wrong at the halfway point of this season, based on my preseason predictions. Next week, I'm going to be tackling the Western Conference, which is sure to throw up a few curly ones. I have no doubt I would have got a couple of things right, and absolutely anticipate I would have probably got more wrong. So be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to the show, whether it's listening to this one on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other leading podcast providers, or tuning in, watching this one on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Be sure to get the latest episodes as soon as they drop. Really, really appreciate all the continued support over the last couple of weeks whilst the show's been away. You guys have continued to stay up to date with the socials for all your latest news for the NBA and NBL, and I certainly appreciate it. Nevertheless, absolutely delighted to be back this week. Hoping to find a bit of a flow once again. The first one back is always the hardest, so hopefully from here onwards it will only get easier. But as always, guys, remember it's 2025, and that means one thing. There's a lot of things to potentially be good at, but if you can't be good at it. Till next week, guys, take care, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.